He was a rare and famous sultan of the Islamic world. He was fluent in countless languages. He was skilled in speaking Arabic to Arabs, Tatars and Mongols in Tatar, Greeks in Greek, Abyssinians in their language, and other nations in their language. Before becoming a sultan, he was pushed around as a slave, so he had mastered various languages during this time. The Eye of Time sometimes saw him herding sheep in the Kipchak Desert as a shepherd. The sky sometimes saw him being sold as a slave in the slave market in the city of Damascus. Sometimes he spent his time serving the princes of Damascus and Egypt, and sometimes he was seen as a soldier in a battlefield. And sometimes the sharp Eye of Time also saw him as the commander-in-chief of the Islamic army. The famous American historian Hale Latham writes about him. He trusted no one but himself, so he would disguise himself and patrol the streets and inform on enemies for himself. He would leave his companions and go out alone. Sometimes he would be seen in Egypt, and sometimes he would appear in Palestine the next day. For days later, people would see him in the Arabian deserts, and a few days after that, he would appear to people in other places with the speed of a nomad. In those days, when he became the Sultan of the Islamic world, the Mongols had attacked the Muslims and destroyed most of their territories, and Hulagu Khan was roaming around the Muslim territories. Once, a Mongol, disguised as a Sinjar, entered Hulug's empire alone and went from village to spy. Since he was fluent in different languages and was also skilled in espionage, no one doubted whether he was a Muslim or the Sultan of the Muslims. One day, he ate in a shop in a Mongol city and deliberately kept his ring in a safe place. After that, he came to his territory and sent a messenger and called Hulagu Khan. I went to such and such a place to inspect the conditions in your kingdom. I have forgotten my royal ring at such and such a shop in such and such a city. Please find that ring and send it to me, because that ring is very dear to me. Hulagu Khan was shocked by the courage and audacity of the Muslim Sultan, and was so impressed by his courage that he found his ring and sent it to him. When the Mongols heard that the Muslim Sultan himself had entered their territories in disguise, they were filled with terror and fear due to the Sultan's courage and bravery. They began to wonder what the fate of the army of the ruler of the empire, who was so brave and courageous, would be and how they would fight him. In those days, the Crusaders of the West had established their large bases along the Mediterranean Sea from where they would launch crusade against the Muslims. The most famous among them was Bohemond, the ruler. The Sultan once disguised himself as a Christian pilgrim and entered the occupied territories of the Crusaders and for several months inspected their military fortifications, castles and many other places. He managed to see about 22 such castles which were the center of the military power of the Crusaders in those days, and he did all this alone. And after that he made a strange irony. He disguised himself as a messenger and envoy and hunted a deer in the forest, and brought the deer to the court of King Bohemond of Antioch and presented him with the game and said, "O Mulkolda here, your majesty, I have been sent by the Sultan of Egypt. I have learned that you are very fond of hunting and are not able to hunt these days. Therefore, he has sent this fresh game as a gift. Please accept it. My master will be grateful to you." When the Sultan left after talking and handing over the account to the king of Antioch, a few days later someone revealed to the king of Antioch that the person who had brought you the deer game was the Sultan of the Muslims. This revelation filled the Christian king Bohemond with fear and trembling. By waging such incredible battles and defeating the Mongols for the first time at Ain al-Jalut, by humiliating and disgracing the Mongols who had imposed their terror on the Muslims, and by removing the fear and terror of the Mongols from the hearts of the Muslims. This rare and glorious figure was named Sultan Baybars. Sultan Baybars used to say about Hulagu Khan, who had imposed his terror on the Muslims by inflicting atrocities on the Mongols and conquering them, that when the time comes, we will tell him that those who fight for the sake of Allah never accept defeat. And then time proved how loyal Sultan Sultan Baybars was to his word and determination, despite the fact that, like other prominent Islamic figures, the imprint of this intelligent, courageous and fearless personality was erased from history, as much as possible with great heart, skill, under a systematic thought and conspiracy. But some faint impressions are still intact. Thank you for listening.